its own. Nothing will be wrong. There's no brand, there's no fame. It's up to you. The fast was you'll be finding. Whatever holds you back, I can't get it off. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me what you want. I don't know why, don't know why, don't know what to say. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me what you say. I don't know why, don't know why, today it's too late.
In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will. I am the observer of this world. Join me as we follow a group of misfits as they save the multiverse. Dr. Richtofen was a scientist who wanted to make the world a better place by defeating the unknown threat, at the time McGraw. He did this by making a super serum for a chosen one to wield, who would eventually take down McGraw one day. He began trials on different people for many years but could not find a suitable candidate, until he started looking out of his own timeline and universe. He found a variant of Lewis who was given the serum and merged with him, being the first wielder, but Richtofen didn't think that Lewis was worthy enough to have that power, so he stripped him of it and returned him back to his universe timeline. That Lewis variant was none other than Evil Lewis, and that strip of power made him angry, causing him to prove Richtofen wrong by planning on stealing the power back and using it to defeat McGraw. So Evil Lewis hired a powerful being at the time called Callum to steal it for him. Meanwhile, at Chernobyl Labs, 26th of April 1986, Richtofen found another variant of Lewis to give the power to, as he had potential. He gave it to Lewis and merged with the serum successfully again, until Callum came and destroyed the labs, leaving nothing but rubble and dust. Lewis and Callum had a fight where Lewis came out on top thanks to Richtofen. He then took the power back for Lewis to work on it some more, as it could barely defeat Callum. Richtofen sent Lewis back to his own timeline, whilst it turns out Callum had survived and met back up with his boss. He discovers who his boss is as Evil Lewis reveals that it is him. Lewis kills Callum after finding out his identity. The Evil Lewis origins to opens up on Evil Lewis' house sitting for a friend whilst they are out on vacation. He is watching the news as we find out that he had recently killed 1 million people by accident when he drove off a cliff after failing to do a cool stunt listening to Free Bird. The news tells us that there is a bounty on Evil Lewis's head, £1 for every person that died, totaling up to £1 million. Suddenly, John Marston walks into the house and kills Evil Lewis. Little did he know at the time he shot him in his left nut, and the other shot went between his braces, leaving him with no serious injuries. Paramedics came to the scene and stopped the bleeding from his nuts. They then sent him to Van Horn Mental Institution, whilst John Marston got his reward of £1 million. We open up from where we left off with Evil Lewis, where we see him in his cell at Van Horn with another inmate called ? Like all Lewises, he checks to see if he can escape by checking his prison wallet, where he finds a bomb from a previous lost comic. Lewis then explodes the cell wall as he and ? escape before the guards get there. We then follow John Marston going home after a morning stroll on his horse. He then gets a call from Good Lewis, where John asks what does he want. Lewis explains that Evil him has recently escaped Van Horn and may be trying to go after him, as he thinks he still has the serum. So Lewis wanted to hire John to protect him, in return more pay, as he knows he can defeat him. John agrees but states that the guards had banned multiverse travel for the time being, which we later learn was caused by Rukia and her father in the All-Stars. Lewis appears in John's world using our illegal portal gun he got in the Lewis movie, Return of McGraw from Koro-sensei after traveling back in time from IG Origins. John goes through the portal with Lewis and end up in his bedroom where there are other people who Lewis had hired waiting there, which included Iron Sheen and Captain Diabetes. Lewis tells everybody about what happened in the evil Lewis origins, so everybody is caught up as they decide to head to somewhere more secure and safe from evil Lewis. They end up heading to the Diabetes Cave where they discuss that they will need more people to help protect Lewis as John got lucky with his shots. So they all split up recruiting one person each. That team included IG, Carl and Freddy, where they all meet up, and IG states to Lewis they might need one more person, and that being Red. Lewis agrees and opens a portal to him where he takes him back to join the little team. Red is hesitant, as he does not want to leave his daughters alone, so they send Carl to babysit them. They all agree that they are powerful enough to just take him out before he finds them to get it over with, so they set off to go to evil Lewis Fortress where they find it, and Iron Sheen takes to the skies to patrol the area, as the rest of the team heads inside. They are greeted by evil Lewis, who tells them they fell right into their trap, as his fortress had a power dampener shield on it so nobody could use their weapons or powers. Question Mark sneaks up behind them and knocks them all out and puts all of them in a jail cell whilst good Lewis gets the super serum sucked out of him, which little does evil Lewis know Dr. Rick the Fan took it out of him. The others wake up in the cell realizing they are trapped until they contact Sheen, who is still outside, to disable the shield, which he does so the others can escape. They arrive to the room just in time where John shoots evil Lewis and the serum, redeeming himself this time, where evil Lewis tells them he was going to use it for good to defeat a greater threat who has been with them the whole time. They realize they are talking about Freddy, but evil Lewis states that somebody is controlling him and then dies before he can say who it was. They call it a bluff and all head back home when Lewis paid them in full for their services. Lewis goes to a therapist where he tells him about the traumatic experience he just went through. The Lewis movie, Return of McGraw, opens up with the explanation of the gods in the universe and their roles, as it tells us a small story about one god called Grand Genie, who has the power to make anyone's wishes real as long as it is not possible for them to do on their own. The story tells us Grand Genie did not want to get involved in the other gods' plans, and that angered one of the big three, who wished for him to get lost for all eternity. Grand Genie has to obey the wish no matter what and accepts it, banishing himself to a unknown location. Word got out to the multiverse about this betrayal, and stories about a secret map leading to him is hidden somewhere, and the great search for the treasure map was seen as the biggest score in the multiverse, as you could wish for anything. We then open to McGraw's Star Cruiser, where he is making a deal with Koro-sense to hand over the map. In return he will let his family live. Koro agrees and McGraw kills him in cold blood, honoring the deal. We then take a trip back 43 years ago to the Vietnam War, where we learn McGraw was president then and started the Vietnam War to find the map, as rumor had it it was hidden in the jungles. McGraw sent out a special task force of Koro and Doodle Bob to find the map and use the portal gun he gave them to go back to him when they find it, to waste no time. Lewis is also there, but we learn why late on in the Lewis movie, Time Mayhem. They get shot down and end up crashing at the ruins where Koro finds the map. Koro explains he is going to protect the map and start a new life, as he cannot by goodwill give McGraw the map, as he would want to destroy everything. Koro leaves and so does Lewis. Back to present day, we pick up where we left off, with Lewis having his therapy session from the end of the Lewis movie, into the PowerPoint verse where he gets kicked out for being stupid. Andy and Lou arrive as Lou asks Lewis if he could look after Andy whilst he takes his therapy session, and he agrees. Andy reveals that he is a secret undercover CUM agent where he asks Lewis for help ASAP to take down McGraw because Koro has not responded to the call, meaning McGraw has most likely gotten to him. Lewis agrees and they then head to McGraw's stereo using Andy's go-go gadget wheelchair. Lewis jumps aboard the ship as Andy heads back to not blow his cover with Lou. Lewis enters and finds the map where he is caught by McGraw and his gang of villains who consist of Jared from Subway, Lord Garmadon and Vector. McGraw sends Lewis to a cell on his ship when Lewis contacts Andy about the trouble he is in. Andy tells Lewis make sure he has his helmet on as he head towards McGraw's ship and fleet where he crashed right into it using lightspeed, sacrificing himself. We then see Lewis floating in space with Scrap knowing he survived the sacrifice thanks to the helmet. We open up in the Lewis movie, Return of McGraw Part 2 with Lewis floating in space where we left off when he is saved by an escape pod with none other than McGraw, the only other survivor of the crash. McGraw asks Lewis for help too as he threatens him saying he has no other choice. Lewis agrees and they head to the closest gas station on a small moon where McGraw asks Lewis to go in and get some snacks as he refuels the ship. Lewis goes in and buys a hot dog for himself where he eats it only to realize Elmer the employee gave him a time-sliding hot dog, what makes you see through time and puts yourself in a point in time you have experienced before. Lucky for Lewis he ended up in his body after the Lewis movie. Into the PowerPoint verse, meaning he can change the events of the Lewis movie, Return of McGraw. He plans on going to Never Time, the home of the CUM, where they can help prevent McGraw from finding Grand Genie. As we get our first look at the CUM, we see that it is mostly heroes from all multiverses what are here to balance out the multiverse. Lewis explains to them his bizarre adventure where the smiling friends persuade everyone that it is a lost cause and leave, making only All Might, Eren Yeager and Forearms. They all agree to help Lewis and head straight to Grand Genie, as Lewis remembers looking at the map when he was going to take it from McGraw. They end up at the only star in the north where they find the genie as he explains his rules for wishes, and they realize they cannot wish for McGraw to be stopped as everyone has the right to a wish. McGraw shows up as in this timeline he didn't get stopped by Andy or Lewis. Lewis plans a wish to stop McGraw as All Might and Eren Yeager try and stop him, as McGraw reveals he took the non-matrix of Forearm's body when he was guarding the ship. They fight where McGraw ultimately won and was about to make his wish when Lewis figured out a way to stop him, which was to give him a meaning in life, so he would not want to destroy everything. McGraw is hit with a bunch of feelings when he realizes he does not want to wish for destruction when he is stopped by a deadly blow from All Might and Eren Yeager, instantly killing him. They all celebrate as All Might makes his wish to find out if McGraw is truly defeated, where we learn he is now in hell for all the crimes he has committed. Eren Yeager makes his wish to bring Forearms back to life, as they all go home to share the news. Lewis gets rewarded with a plastic medal to thank him for saving the multiverse, as we see McGraw in hell telling us that his meaning in life Lewis had given him has now changed from helping people to kill everyone. IG Origins starts a new chapter where it shows us IG talking to Lewis 1 year before the evil Lewis Origins. It gives Lewis a weapon to look after called the Time Blade and gives Lewis the story of why he needs to keep it safe. He tells him he one day got a call from a client whilst working with the All-Stars to steal artifact being held by the Bubble Boys, who was ran by Bubble Buddy. He caught IG stealing it as he escaped, calling the client that he had got the artifact he wanted. The client told him it was a setup and he wanted him dead for stealing from him a few weeks ago and wasn't expecting him to escape with it. IG laid low, not wanting to get caught by the Bubble Boys for a few months until he came to Lewis to hide it for him, as he cannot let a weapon like this fall into the wrong hands. IG tells Lewis all about the time blade, that it can take anyone to any point in time, but causes extreme memory loss the truther back in time they go. Bubble Buddy Origins takes place 1 year after IG Origins, as it show Bubble Buddy with his new family at a picnic where they are celebrating his retirement of leaving his gang to focus on his family, when all of a sudden a car hits, all of them popping his child and wife, only slightly deflating him. He wakes up in the hospital to the same news in the evil Lewis Origins, to letting us know that his family was part of the 1 million people he killed that day. Bubble Buddy was sad and called IG to get the time blade backs so he can save his family, but Ig was hesitant, as he was the reason why he was on the run. He convinced IG he was a changed man, and IG could see it in his eyes as he told him to get it from Lewis, under some conditions. Don't hurt him or take it by force. Bubble Buddy agreed to these conditions and lurked in the shadows waiting for Lewis to reveal the location of the time blade so he can take it. 5 days after following Lewis, he gets impatient and confronts Lewis about the time blade.